Yes, Manners Live is back. Happy Miniversary, people. What a year Kirk Minihane fans have had. The best podcast in the world has turned one. I am thrilled. It's just been an incredible journey this year for all the listeners to the podcast. And, I want to congratulate Kirk, Steve and Mike on producing just day after day, show after show of amazing listening. So tonight, we're taking all your calls to celebrate the Miniversary. All the topics are on the table tonight. So favourite moments of the year, give them to me. That fucking bitch, Ellie Schnitt. If you've got some thoughts on that, give it to me. What about Kirk roasting his idol today on Sirius Radio, Howard Stern? I think that's an incredible bit of, theatre to see Kirk Minihane, who was almost born out of the greatness of Howard Stern, now reach Sirius and completely tear him apart on the airwaves. So that was great. If you've got thoughts about those things, get in touch. The phone lines should be open now. So, Nick, open the phone lines up. I'll be taking your calls. I want to hear your best moments. Any show stuff you want to talk about. And I guess while I'm waiting for the calls to come in, I've sort of identified 4 weeks in the show's history that I think are milestone weeks. I'm curious whether you agree. So I think the first milestone week for the show was when Kirk took on Willie Colon at the Barstool offices. I think that was when Steve was away and Cullinane was in. But I think what was important about that week was I think that it kind of just showed what the show was going to be about to people that didn't know Kirk, and it just got the sort of momentum going in the show. You felt like you had to listen to the next day. You had to sort of keep up with the story. So Willie Colon week got things going. Then I think the next milestone week for me is probably the Super Bowl week in Miami. I think that was very getting choppy. I will see how you go. But yeah, that was, call up if you want. The phone lines are open. The Super Bowl week was a really important week because I thought it brought Kirk into the Barstool world a little bit more, and it brought in hopefully some new listeners from Barstool. And then I think as well it was important because it had a week of just riveting shows with Big Cat and Clancy. The Super Bowl week, an important week, very important week. Then, let's take the first call. Hello, welcome to Manners Live.
Your feed is horrible tonight, man.
What was that?
Your feed on YouTube is breaking up again.
I know, it's shithouse, but I can't do anything about it. I'm 10,000 miles away. 10,000 miles away. Yeah, what's your question?
How big is your cock?
Well, we're back to that again. All right, fuck off, you asshole. Come up with better material, you fucking dickhead. Piece of shit. Go and die. All right, so that guy's gone. So, first 2 weeks. Third week, I think the week Steve was suspended. I think that was the end of February. I think that was just set off a powder keg of emotions within the Miniverse that have never really subsided. So, and I think that was a momentous week, having the producer of the show suspended for meddling with Kirk's art was an important week. Seeing the comment, I hate KFC. Fuck him. I agree. Fuck that KFC. What a pandering prick. He turned on Kirk so quickly, turned on a dime. No loyalty, no brains. Be better, KFC. All right, so then my first 3 weeks, and I'm stuck on the 4th week. The 4th week, the 4th most important week, and I think maybe it was the most recent with Fire K Marco. That was such a crazy week recently, and it really did, get the trending on Twitter and all that stuff. So I think that's an important week. But the other weeks are the Albright week, when Steve was almost fired. Thank God Stella died. And before and after Madawaska were both vital weeks for the show. the after Madawaska in particular, the sort of fallout from Drunk Mike, that was an important week for the show. It's given a lot of content, obviously. It's fortunately got Mike off the booze, so he's on the wagon, which is a good thing for him. And yeah, so I'm torn on the fourth most important week. I think Fire K Marco that week might be the most important, especially if it means eventually Kirk leaves Bustle because K Marco tried to stab him in the back. So, or did stab him in the back. Hello, caller. Welcome to Manners Live.
I think the most important week was the week that you went on the air. How big is your cock?
You piece of shit. You know what the most important week was? No, fuck your mother. And she loved it, especially up the arse, that dirty slut whore. Yeah, so so on tonight's show, taking your calls. Call up if you got some thoughts. Later on, I'm actually going to be joined by the host of Some Insane News, Rob, at Madawaska Rob. A few things to run by him. Yeah, I've got a few important questions for him. He hosts as Some Insane News on the YouTube network. Okay, show. Hello, motherfucker.
I have a thought.
Yeah, it is about mother? Because she's a dirty
How
whore.
big is your cock?
Your dirty whore mother loves the ass, that piece of shit, and you a piece of shit.
Your show's a piece of shit.
You're a piece of shit. Honestly, fuck you.
No, fuck you.
You're a cunt. Honestly, you're a dirty cunt. I wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. I wouldn't give you the steam from my shit.
I love your show. It's great.
Bye-bye. Well, that turned around pretty quickly. All right, I've got my grades for the year. I've got some grades. I'm going to go through some stats from the year that 484 Ryan tweeted out. All right, so grades for the year. All right, let's start with Kirk. Clearly, well, let's take the call. Hello, caller.
Hey, Manners. I just wanted to hit a couple of points. So first, you mentioned Kirk blasting Howard Stern, and I can see how that's a dream for Kirk to do that on Sirius. But honestly, I don't care. I never listened to Howard. I never thought he was relevant. So for me, it's kind of a nothing moment. But I understand what it means to Kirk.
How can it be a nothing moment? He's like the biggest radio star in America, isn't he? So surely it's relevant.
Yeah, it's relevant to him, but because he has the nostalgia. But for somebody who never listened to it, Howard Stern's never meant anything to me, and that's why I think it's Kirk's dream to do that, and so I think you let him have his moment. But for me, not that big a deal. So you asked, what were some of the best week? It's obviously the week Dave Cullinan's last week, because in that week you had Mike begging Erica for a job on the phone.
Yeah.
You had Linda Marks. You had Rich Mandarin. You had Steve, my good man. I mean, I would put that week against anything. I mean, that really shows what this show can be about, and how good it can be.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. What about since Cullinane left? Have there been any weeks that stand out to you?
Say that again?
Since Cullinane left, weeks that stand out to you since then?
Last week was unbelievable. Going from Gina to making, K Marco, Ellie Schnitt. I think last week, because you had such a great mix of every kind of show. Calls, you had Kirk being hilarious, Kirk being serious. I mean, it was just some of everything last week.
I agree. I've put that on my list. I think Super Bowl week was a really good week. And obviously when Steve was suspended, as I said, a personal highlight for me.
Yeah. And so I know you've been avoiding one question on your show.
How big's my
I just wonder if you're ready. How big is your cock?
Thank you. Thank you for asking. Bye. All right. Now that got on, so give you the grades for the first year of the Kirk Minahan show. Well, obviously Kirk gets an A. Yeah, I mean, that was an easy one. I think next year Kirk will probably an A plus, but I thought for the first year it was a solid A, good start. a good year, but A plus I think is on the horizon for Kirk Minahan. Michael Geary, easy one, a boring minus, a B minus. Mike, I think Mike has been very good. He's a good foil for Kirk. Hello, Paul. Just hold on a sec. Just hold on a sec. So I think Mike's really good. B minus. But as I said, he needs to go to the next level, which is to be a little bit stronger and really try and drive some content. Sometimes it's not just them picking on him. He needs to find a different angle. Oh, the guy's gone good. So Kirk A, Michael Geary a B minus. As I said, just slightly need a bit more from him next year. I think he needs to take that step forward. And then the Steve mark was obviously a hard one because people know I have had my issues with him in the past. Pipe it through. Hello, caller.
Cricket is an Australian national pastime. It's played all over the country, watched and loved by millions, and our national cricket team are looked up to as heroes by kids of all ages.
Thank you.
Cricket is also a fun, social game to play that's easy to learn and can be enjoyed by boys and girls from as young as 5 years old.
Thank you for the cricket stuff. I didn't know that. But if, while the show's on, I want to get into cricket for the next 10 days, now's the time, while there's no Kirk Minahan show. So back to Steve's mark. I have to weigh up my personal feelings with him, the suspension, him being an absolute fucking dick to Minna fans instantly and Mincels. But when you weigh all that up, but he still does a lot to get the show to air, to bring Kirk to us, to organise these events. So I spent a long time thinking about Steve, and I thought a plus is where I'm going to land with him. I think he's a solid, satisfactory producer. He gets everything to where he's moving the show forward in so many ways. So I'm giving him a C plus. Hello, caller. What's your mark, Steve?
How big is your cock?
Fuck off. So that's the second producer for the show, DEC. Well, obviously he's had a big role in getting the show growing because he was the one that first suggested Kirk bring in Barstool. And he does the week in review, which is, I think, a great way for people to keep up with the show if you can't listen to every show. So I'm giving DEC A minus for his year. He has lost relevancy. He's sort of gone to the back burner in terms of opinions on the show. Like the Minuteman show's less about what it was when MHB's there. My marks: Kirk an A, Michael Geary a boring minus, Steve a C plus, and DEC an A minus. A first year marks. We'll see what the second year brings. Hello, caller. He's gone again. Calls are coming in thick and fast tonight. The second ever Manners Live. Really happy with the way last week's Manners Live went. I really like being live again and taking calls on the network, the loosely sort of affiliated network with the show. I think that's going to be spread further apart soon. Hello, caller. Welcome to Manners Live. Hello.
Scoring in cricket matches involves two elements. The number of runs.
Honestly, I hate this guy. Be better, be funny. I'm happy for you to call up and shit, but at least be clever about it, you dirty whore cunt. All right. Now, 484 Ryan, the stats man for the KMS World, tweeted out some stats about the first year show. And look, I would say that you should take these stats with a grain of salt because Ryan, for a stats guy, is not great with numbers. So I would take these stats with a grain of salt, but he's said that the Kirk Minahan show put out 238 episodes in the first year. 238 episodes. The longest episode is 4 hours and 13 minutes from November 21, 2019. And, man, I'm desperate for another 4-hour show. I think that another 4-hour show should come soon. Yeah, maybe when Kirk's had his sort of a week off next week and then we've had the 4th of July, maybe a 4-hour show after that.
And the number of wickets lost by each team. Scorer is someone appointed to record all runs scored.
Write the jokes, you dickhead. Honestly, what piece of shit. So the shortest episode, which I remember well, 29 minutes, February 24th, 2020. That was obviously the Steve suspended episode. That's in the top 5 episodes of the year for me. I think I listened to it about 5 times on repeat that day, which is so satisfying. The average episode length, 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's for a guy that's contracted to do 50 minutes a show. So basically, it's 3 times what he's supposed to do. Hello, caller. Hello.
You're talking about the shortest episode. How small is your cock?
Someone else call it, please. This guy's got terrible material. Do we know who it is who keeps calling me? If you're out there, let's find out who's trying to ruin Mena's life. I mean, who'd want to ruin the main live late night taking your call show? So, where is it? Total minutes podcasted. 31,940. 31,940. That is incredible. Hello, caller.
Am I on?
Yes, you're on.
Oh, hey, Menners. How's it going, my friend?
Great. How are you?
Great. Good. Hey, I'm calling from America, clearly. Do you find it strange that the show account tweeted to subscribe to Sirius when all they did all week was just rail on Howard Stern? So if I subscribe to Sirius, I'm giving money to Howard Stern. Do you find that strange?
No, I don't find it strange at all. I think that's a very long bow to draw from that. Sirius, has a ton of channels, so you're not directly subscribing to Howard Stern. I don't find that weird at all.
All right, well.
What have you thought of the series? What have you thought of the series? I thought today's series was great.
Oh. Well, I couldn't listen. I'm not subscribed, so I didn't listen. I listened to the 10-minute clip, and that was fantastic, like always, but I didn't actually listen to the entire 50 minutes. I think Sirius has stepped in clearly, or Barstool, and they're not letting them post the whole 53-minute show on the YouTube channel anymore.
Which makes sense. It would be. I can understand why they have stepped in. Kirk did the show did the right thing. He put a couple up, the first 3 on YouTube, so everyone knows what's going on. And then,
free.
What?
They're doing it for free. It should be
What
on
do
the
they do?
YouTube channel. Kirk
Yeah, but what?
everything for free.
Well, I'm all a
That's
fan.
why he's so great. That's why he's so great.
I know, but I understand now why they're going to be on Sirius. In the end, you can't release the full show every week, otherwise, no one will subscribe.
Well, we don't want to subscribe. If there was the Kirk Minahan Network, we would subscribe. But
I agree.
That's
I'm with you on that one.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for the call. Hear that? He would subscribe to the Kirk Minahan Network. So that's how much he loves the Mincels, the OGs, the Minna Ladies, Drinking Buddies, this show. He would pay for it. So fuck off the haters YouTube channel. Hello, caller. Oh!
Hey, I think you're being very rude, not answering,
Fuck off.
You had your, hey, you have your turn.
Yeah.
Okay? It's my turn. I'm talking.
Fuck you!
My turn.
What?
I got some points I want to make, okay? I think you're being very rude and not answering that young man's question.
Have you been working on this material for the last couple of minutes? Because I'm thinking it's going to be very...
Look, okay, I want to talk about my favorite Minifan, all right? I saw the other night when he refused to go on making the Minifans. Latino Kirk told everyone that YouTube is not the end-all be-all. And that is very true. The end-all be-all is spending your kid's college fund on a trip to Florida with a heroin junkie, all right? Just so Kirk might talk about it. That's, that's clout chasing 101.
Yeah, well, why didn't LK didn't really get much attention for that trip, did he?
It's incredible. LK can drive and shoot video at the same time, and on top of that, pull over and administer Narcan to intern well. Ah!
Thank you. Goodbye. Is that Tony Clifton again? I had to Google who Tony Clifton was after the last show. I guess there is some cultural differences between Australians and Americans. We get a lot of stuff from America, and we steal a lot of stuff. But yeah, some stuff doesn't make it here. I was just going through the stats. So 31,940 minutes. That's 19,640 minutes above what he's contracted to do. So Kirk, thank you. You really are a benevolent, gentle guy. Hello.
Programa no YouTube é muito bem.
Hello.
Alô, meu amigo. Como está, meu amigo? Tá bom?
Goodbye. I don't understand that language. Was that Phil? Was that Phil? All right. So, and 484 Ryan asserts that if Kirk has banked 393 50-minute shows extra just going on time. So that he's put here the next show would be required January 13th, 2022. I wonder if there's anything in this where like Kirk could hold out now with this whole K Marco thing and go to Barstool and say, look, I've held up my end of the bargain, done more minutes than required. I'm not going back on the air until K Marco's gone. And would that set in his contract? Hello. Welcome to Manners Live. You're with Manners.
Yep. Hello?
Well, that was all right. So another couple of questions, and you can call up about this one. Would you listen to a show if Kirk wasn't there and it was just Steve and Mike, and maybe they brought in a Carano or a Chris, or if they were desperate DEC? You know, if they were to do a couple of shows without Kirk in the next 10 days, would you listen? That's what I want to know. Would you listen to a Mike Steve show? Because when Kirk goes to the bathroom for a few minutes, feels like 20 minutes when those two are talking. Hello. Welcome to Manners Live. You're live on the air. You're live on the
Thank you,
Kane Network.
Manners, if you're not going to acknowledge the week before the vigil, I think the vigil is the most important thing that happened in the past year. And
Very,
how big
very,
is your
very
cock?
good point. Very good point. Yeah, that's an interesting one, bringing up the vigil. So I guess my thing with the vigil is I think the shows, I don't know if the shows around the vigil, you know, the week before and the week after had the sort of energy that some of these weeks have, but the vigil itself, I mean, was vital. Again, Kirk was right. Kirk was right. Kirk was right. If you stand up to Murchison, he will go away. And that's what he did. So that's a very good point. The vigil itself is one of the most vital days of the year. There's just no doubt about that. Kirk was right. Kirk was right. Kirk was right. Yeah, so if you want to let me know if you would watch a show if it was just Steve and Mike, I'd love to know because, or listen to a show. I'm just not sure they have enough chemistry, but I don't know. I'd almost like to see it because I think if they did a couple of podcasts, the how bad it would be would give enough material for the next year. The Steve and Mike show. Hello, caller. He's gone again. The same. Hello. Great calls tonight. Some great calls tonight. All right, what else has been happening on the show? I've got some more news, and then Rob will be joining me in about 5 minutes. Nick, when he's ready, just put it in the box that Rob's joined, and I'll bring him in, the host of Some Insane News, that crappy program on the network. All right, news since the last show. Donald J. Trump Jr. tweeting about Kirk, calling him the great Kirk Minahan. That was incredible. Obviously, when you got the president's son endorsing you, that's a pretty big thing for the show. But I wonder how Kirk felt about that because, you know, he's famously not a Republican. He's a libertarian and he didn't vote for Trump. I just wonder if it makes him feel uncomfortable when he's endorsed by Donald J. Trump Jr., how comfortable he feels with that. Yeah, that was such a public tweet of DJT Jr. Hello, caller.
Onde está o Blind Mike?
What?
Onde está o Blind Mike?
What about Blind Mike?
Onde está o Blind Mike?
I don't know. What are you saying? Is someone speaking another language? They're trying to speak Australian because we speak English here. So yeah, I'm just curious how Kirk feels about the DJT Junior Trump. I don't know if you noticed, but he didn't take a huge victory lap, which is unlike Kirk. Hello, welcome to the show. You're with Manners, who's coming from
Manners,
Sydney,
what's going
Australia.
on, man?
What's up?
It's BAC.
BA's face.
So yeah, man, just happy anniversary, huh?
Happy anniversary. What a year. It's been one of the most incredible years of my life listening to this show. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good. I mean, all things considered, I mean, Kirk's given us over 500 hours of great content, so it's good.
Yeah, and it's just, the community's really grown around the show, and I've had so much fun, and what a year. What a year. It's who'd have thought that, right now, a year later, the show would be where it is with on Sirius with, hundreds of thousands of listeners that listen to all around America, all around the world. We've got the Aussie Minifans, the British Minifans. What a community.
Yes, yeah. Now, my favorite parts of the first year, I mean, it's got to be the Cullinane week, but in general, I mean, when Mike is funny, Mike is just hilarious. So he cracks me up, and he's had some of the greatest moments in the first year, in my opinion, whether it was the Nardini interview, whether it was Steve, my good man. And, one of the most underrated moments, which we probably shouldn't even talk about, is when Kelleher was in there, and Kelleher was going off on an insane tangent about DC or MHB, and Blind Mike just looks at him and says, "Do you see MHB or DC here right now?" that made me laugh.
I mean,
all right, man, have a good day. I hope these douchebags stop calling.
Thanks for the call. Cheers. Seems like Dave Cullinane is very popular within the Minifan world, and let's not forget great thinkers. Has been the sort of catalyst for a lot of these YouTube shows. And yeah, well done to Cullinane. I wonder if he's working for Entercom now, because I know he's kind of dropped off the world a bit. So I wonder if he's sidled up with that company. Yeah, and good point from the caller. Mike is very funny when he starts riffing with Kirk. It's hilarious. All right, last call before I bring Rob in. Hello, caller. Fuck off. Honestly, I mean, this sort of shitty calls. I mean, you are just the lowest pieces of crap in the world. You're like a stain on my underpants. If you're going to call my show at 10:30 your time and hassle me, I mean, you're literally, a piece of shit stain on my underwear. That's what I think of you. All right, bring in Rob from Some Insane News.
Manners, what's up, buddy?
Hello, Rob. Welcome to Manners Live. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. And just to clear it up, Cullinane is the producer for the Jerry Callahan podcast. That's where he is.
Yeah, I know, but isn't he doing some other work? Like, I'm not sure that's how he completely pays the bills.
I mean, I hope not, because I don't think that would pay the bill. I don't think that would pay the bills right now. I don't think Jerry's doing too well.
No. So, Rob, I wanted to bring on, firstly, let's just clear something up. This has been bugging me for a week.
What do you got?
Fucking idiot. So, Big Cat goes on and he says, talk about buying pancakes at breakfast. And then you go on this whole thing like, I'm the same. I order wings and nachos in a bar for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, everybody orders wings and nachos in a bar for the table. Why do you think that's special? Explain to me what's in that dumb fucking brain of yours to think that is the same as ordering pancakes.
I said, what I do is I sit down, and before anybody could even speak, I say, let's get a couple wings and a couple of nachos. And then I pay for it, Menace. That's the problem. Do you pay for it as well?
Yes. Everyone.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. I have been at bars with so many people, and they go off and they get around to drinks and they say, I ordered some wings and nachos for us to snack on. I mean, how is this incredible? What sort of life are you living that you think this is some, amazing thing to do? Oh, I bought someone wings and nachos at a bar.
Menace, you go to the bar and the people look, they say, hey, where did Menace go? Is he over there? Did someone order wings and nachos at the bar? They're all looking for you, buddy. They can't see us. That's right.
I do struggle to get service to the bar. I usually sort of pull on someone's ear just to lift myself up.
I didn't mean to get you riled up. Yeah, you know what? It probably is common, but I guess I have cheap friends, so maybe that's why I feel special doing it. Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what it is.
I just found the way you linked that to, you know,
I have done the pancake thing before. No, I haven't done it, but I've shared pancakes before, yes.
Okay, everyone shared pancakes again. There's a difference. Really don't get what Big Cat was doing, do you?
Fucking guy.
I mean, you also have a knack for making up stories because you made up that stupid story about being Kirk's first ever fan.
Yes.
Has he even acknowledged that? Because he knows it's crap.
He doesn't know it's crap. Menace, I already told you I had this conversation with him in Madawaska. I said, I can name the starting 5 for the Woburn High Tanners that played that night, and he said the same thing. Chris O'Donnell, Doug Queenan, Peter Findell, Steve Donaghy, and Stephen Kelly. That's the fucking starting 5.
Put that up an online photo somewhere.
Yeah,
you know find that.
Yeah, I don't lie. That's one thing about me. I don't lie. That's why it's nice and easy to talk like this.
You've lied twice already.
Wide open book. That's what I am. I'm an open book.
Pancakes now about this story of meeting Kirk as a kid.
No. And I have another connection with Kirk too, because my mother actually used to work at a place that he used to also work at sometimes. And we have mutual friends from that same place. So
whoop-de fucking do.
So fuck you, Menace. You motherfucking Australian fuck.
So if we believe you, that you're
believe me,
first ever fan, take me through what your memories of Kirk at that age were. Like, what
this is literally what happened. I sat down. My father, we used to go to high school basketball games all the time, like because I'm a basketball guy. So and I was 10. I was 10. So I think 10 or 11.
Younger than Kirk then? Yeah,
I'm 8 years younger than Kirk. I think.
You look like 10 years older. But go on.
I look 10 years older. Menace, look at me, buddy. I'm a fucking Adonis over here. Anyway, so my father sat down and he said, I love the way this Minahan kid plays the game. And that's it just sticks in my head. And I'll have my fucking father come on here some night with you, Menace, and fucking confirm that story. So that's how I started. I mean, and I followed him through EEI when he was on the weekends on EEI. And I was just always a huge fan. I mean, Menace, you should have seen the talent that they had on the EEI back on the weekends. And I'm being sarcastic. It was like Minahan was amazing. Then they had this guy, Chris Villani. They had this other guy. It was terrible. I mean, he stuck out like a sore thumb for everybody. I mean, from the second that he was on the radio, he was just so much more talented.
Mom and him worked in the same place at some stage must have been really special for you.
But I know, I just
friends.
It just connects, not friends. Yeah, I wouldn't say he has friends. My mother was friends with him. I'm more acquaintances. So I'll put it this way: I am literally staring at a stroller from Gary Tangway right here in my basement. A stroller, Gary Tangway's stroller.
You stole it off him?
Yeah, I went to his house in the middle of the night with a mask on, and I fucking stuck a gun. No, he gave it. He passed it down to my mother because I have
Tangway's kids or the kids Tango's been hooking up with.
I think Tangway is not hooking up. Tangway is not hooking up with anybody. It's fucking Gary Tangway. He makes women come on the phone. He just talks to them and they
does have a beautiful voice.
Right. But so I always followed him because I had that connection from the very beginning. And when we talk about this type of stuff, like we talk about, him going to Barstool and him leaving EEI, and then I was up in Madawaska and I saved DEC.
No shit. Look at you fucking handle.
I saved DEC's best of for the trip to Madawaska, and it was the best move I think I've ever made in my life because I as a fan of Kirk, just listening to the whole thing and how it came full circle, it was just fucking awesome.
So tell me, I guess then, what does this day mean to you, the Miniversary? Because for me, I was a Barstool listener before Kirk, and I also listened to Kirk. So when they came together, it was a really special day. I was like, podcasting and my radio idol have now come together. Yeah. And so a year later, I think it's an important milestone in my life. What about for Kirk's oldest supposed fan?
It's awesome because I was also a Howard Stern guy. And sometimes you close your eyes and you can hear like the cadence. Kirk's cadence is so much like Howard sometimes when he talks about specific things. And And obviously, how it's been discussed the last week is just falling off a cliff and just completely just turning into a giant pussy. And Kirk is the complete opposite, and be able to see him in his prime. Like, I feel like this is like prime time Kirk Minahan. It's fucking awesome. It's like watching an athlete, but it's like watching an athlete in his prime. But if that athlete gave you the access that Kirk gives you access to, he lets fans do fucking YouTube shows like this with his name in the background. Who does that? I mean, who else does that? Nobody, you know?
I don't know how much longer it's going to go on for either.
But then, but it's a community. It's like he knew he had that at EEI, and he knew he was just so much bigger than what EEI was offering. And it's just fucking, and obviously he was right. That fucking sinking ship.
Yeah. So speaking of sinking ships, let's talk about your show, Some Insane News.
Yeah.
So
Menace, I have something to say to you before we even talk. You put out last week a tweet that says whatever, miserable failure, whatever the fuck, however you put it. Madawaska Rob's top 10, right?
Yes.
Yes. The next question to you. Then you said you didn't even watch it. Yes or no?
Yeah, the whole concept of a top 10.
Time out. Did you say so you didn't watch it?
I flicked through a bit of it. It was terrible.
Oh shit! You said you did not watch it. I have the tweet that said it didn't watch it.
Terrible.
So it's like reading a book and then giving a review on a book you didn't read, or watching a movie and telling me to fucking watch it and then not doing it.
I told you from the beginning of your show it should be between 5 and 7 minutes. I say 5 and 7 minutes. That would be for me.
How long is this show right now? How long are we going?
I'm not writing comedy here. You're trying to write comedy.
37 minutes. 37 minutes.
I'm swearing at people and bullshitting. You're actually trying to write jokes, and I
Who's
think
writing. I'm not writing anything. I literally get a fucking. I write 3 pieces of news. The newspapers. That's it.
On the fly, no. And then you edit it and all this. I think.
You want to see my top 10? Hey, you want to see my top 10? My top 10 has 10 fucking names on it, and then I just go right from here.
Honestly, I don't think we need a top 10 from Rob every week. I think
you don't know me yet. Once you get to know me and love me, you're gonna want to know what I want to say. Hey, let me ask you a question. Have you ever? I'm gonna give you the 5 cartoons that I gave last week, right? And you need to
everyone's switching off my show now.
I don't give a fuck. Hey, good. I hope they are. Good. Fucking your views will go down. Hey, listen. Have you ever seen The Simpsons?
Yeah, no. What's The Simpsons?
Have you ever seen South Park?
No. What's South Park? What are these shows you speak of?
So then what the fuck? Then listen to me. I give you some interesting facts about the fucking shows that you're talking about.
It's not interesting. Sorry, it's not interesting.
It's shit that you didn't know. So fucking look at it.
I'm joking. It's not good. Anyway, I
love you anyways. I love you. I'm going to get you to love me. I'm going to get you to love it.
I love you already. I just think your show should be shorter. And my favorite bit was when you said to me, "Oh, but I brought 100 viewers with me from my old network YouTube channel." I mean, come on. We want to do better.
I had 755 views last week. We're better than you.
Who's counting?
I don't even know what they mean. Do people buy views? What does that mean, buy views? Someone asked me about that, like one of my friends. Yeah. Oh, man, you get on there and buy some views. I'm like, I don't even know. I wouldn't even know the way to
clearly bought 500 views. You clearly bought 500.
Yeah. Do I look like a guy who knows how to buy 500 fucking views online?
Yeah, you do. The suit you're wearing. All right. Well, Rob, thanks for coming on the show.
I appreciate it.
Some Insane News. It actually is, if you sort of like mediocre humor, go and watch Some Insane News because it's I would say mildly entertaining.
Good. That's great. Hey, wait. I got one question for you. Who's your favorite TV dad of all time? Dad.
Bill Cosby.
That doesn't count. He's got an asterisk next to his name. Come on, I can't put the rape.
I was joking. Anyway, it's a really tough one. TV dad. I mean, when I often think of the dad from the dad from the Wonder Years. I love that character. I don't know if he's when he passed away at the end of that series. It was I don't know. He holds something.
Yeah, that's a good one. There you go. I'm putting him in the top 10 now. You got to watch it. Done.
Great. Bye, Rob.
Happy Father's Day.
Bye. Happy anniversary. Well, that was Rob from Madawaska. All right. So any calls, pipe them through, Nick. Last couple of calls before we end Menace Live for this Wednesday night, coming to you from Sydney, Australia. That's right. 10,000 fucking miles away. While we're waiting for the calls, I'll start my YouTube roundup. So let's start with the Mincel Intel guys. They're back. They are back. I think that's good they came back. My advice to all Minna fans is, when you enter the Minnaverse, at some stage your hand will get burnt. Pipe it through. Let's pipe these callers through. Hello. Hello.
Manners?
Yes.
Manners, it's Quantum Week, Chris.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Well, I was good until that last interview. That was awful. That was really bad.
Why?
Why do you have guests?
Chris, you are very hard to please. You're very hard to
I'm
please.
not hard to please.
I mean,
I
your
love when you are
podcast
on the
is
show,
terrible,
taking
and you're
calls.
telling me. I don't see a problem. I thought Rob was mildly entertaining, which is on form for him. And yeah, I like to bring the odd guest on from the YouTube network because I'm all about, promoting the other shows.
That's fine. Last week, all you did was say how shitty his show was, and then you bring him on. You're like, he's boring, he sucks, and then you bring on a boring and shitty guest.
Yeah, and I fucking roasted him, Chris. I fucking roasted him on air. Jesus.
No, you didn't. No, you're too nice. You're very nice to the guest. You're too nice to the guest.
How was I nice to him? I said he wasn't funny. I mean, I shredded him. You got rocks in your head, Quantum Week, Chris. Rocks in your fucking head.
I'm very disappointed. Don't have guests on
What the
anymore.
fuck is wrong with
Good luck the
you?
rest of the show.
It's so fucking hard to please. I feel sorry for your wife, that poor fucking woman, having to put up with your shit.
She's very lucky. All right, bye, man.
Fuck her. Fucking Chris, he's always complaining. All he does is fucking complain. Have guests on. I don't take calls. I'm not live. I mean, fuck off, honestly. Just enjoy the show. I'm going to bring the odd guest on. I like bringing the odd person from the YouTube channel on. It's not going to be every week. Anyway, hello, caller. Hello. They're gone. All right.
I got to agree with Chris. He's right. No more guests. You suck.
Okay, thanks, Rob. All right, so a YouTube roundup. The Mincel guys are back. I think you're going to get your hands burnt when you enter the Miniverse. Just take the little burns. Don't run away. So, Red, wherever you are, come back. Come back, Red. I wouldn't say we miss you or we ever liked you, but we want you back. And that's, I would say, to the Mincels as well. Just a couple of fact checks from the Mincel Intel latest show. Their facts aren't their strong point. So Wagyu is not an Australian breed of cattle. John from Scranton sort of said that and backtracked. And the other one is the Americans did not really win the war for the Allies. History has looked back at that and said the Russians won the war. And obviously the Americans were important, and I'm not denigrating their sacrifice, but really the Russians won the war. All right, next call. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
No, I can't.
All right. Hey, Meadows, I love the accent. Can you repeat a couple of words in your Australian accent for me?
Depends what they are.
First one's wallaby.
Wallaby.
Explosion.
Explosion.
Alopecia.
Alopecia. Now, I have no idea what those audio grabs are going to be used for. Not sure it's going to be flattering. Okay, next YouTube roundup. Better Than It Used to Be. Sorry, Gig or Tony. I haven't watched it yet, but it's there. So episode 2, go and watch it. Drinking Buddies. No, well, Chris and Matt beat DEC and Kevin from Bristol. So Drinking Buddies, great show. I thought shots were a great addition, as I suggested. Again, one of my suggestions, take it on board. I like that kind of relevancy. So yeah, I think shots are a great part of the show because you just get fucking hammered on shots. So 10 shots by the end, you just, who knows what people are going to be saying. But the questions, someone needs to help the lovely TJ Hubbard with the questions, because the questions on Drinking Buddies are awful. And can't you go and buy like trivia books? Like, couldn't he just go and find some good books that have a lot of trivia in them, and he could just rip it off? Because I mean, some of his questions are just terrible. But great show, Drinking Buddies. And I still think a game show without drinking wouldn't be a sort of bad thing to introduce to go with Drinking Buddies. They get a sober and a non-sober game. Hello, welcome to Manners Live. Goodbye. Goodbye, dickhead. Goodbye. Go back to sleeping with your fucking siblings or something, whatever you've been doing, you inbred piece of shit. YouTube Roundup continues with Grow Up. Okay, again. And this was a weird moment for me this week, and I feel a little bit uncomfortable about this. DJK is a very young man, but I suggested to him on last week's show that DJK go back to his no one's listening style of broadcasting, and then the next show is called Grow Up, No One's Listening, and he did a no one's listening kind of show. which is fantastic. It's nice to mentor someone in the KMS network. So I said to him, it's nice to mentor you. And then he said that he thought I was sexually attracted to him. Now, that was a weird turn from DJK. I'm not sure where he got that from, but I obviously think he's, a semi-talented broadcaster, and I think no one's listening suits him better than Grow Up. But anyway. Minalay, bring the call, pipe the call. Hello. Hello.
Hey, do you think that this past week's Mike and the Minifans was the worst episode or the absolute worst episode you've ever watched? Because Blind Prison Mike trying to apologize for Red, I have no explanation of why anybody would want to do that. I mean, Red has done nothing but sabotage himself, be boring, and try to psychoanalyze Kirk, and then trying to justify his existence in the KMS world. I mean, just a complete buffoon.
Yeah, thanks for the call. I actually didn't think Mike and the Minifans was too bad. I think they had, it was Mike with 3 guests, R.A. Minahan, BPM, and somebody else. And I know that Justin, the producer of that show, had a few people pull out at the last minute. So, that's never easy when you've got all these plans and then someone pulls out just beforehand. I didn't mind, actually. I thought it was a decent discussion for Mike and the Minifans. It was decent. But yeah, not a big fan of Blind Prison Mike. He's a sort of boring minus. He's not an interesting guy. He's not funny. He's obviously desperate for attention. So not a big fan of Blind Prison Mike, but I have to say, I don't agree with the caller. It wasn't as bad as some of the other Mike and the Minifans. Hello. You're on Manners. You're with Manners. Hello. Hi.
The show.
Hi. What?
Question for you.
Yes.
I'm an American, but I played rugby for a bunch of years, and I know
Great.
you're from Australia. Are you a fan of the All Blacks?
Union? What was it?
Did you see the documentary about the All Blacks?
No, I did not. Sorry.
It's on Amazon. Really good. So you are a fan of rugby, though?
Yeah. Yep. Not as big a fan as cricket. There's a great cricket documentary on Amazon called The Test. So if you like sporting documentaries, go and watch it.
Thanks. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the show.
Oh, cheers. Go the Wallabies. And that's our rugby team. All right, where was it? YouTube roundup, Minna Ladies. So the Minna Ladies has fast become the show on the network where you go for dating advice, relationship and dating advice. You had Brandy, Tara, Allison, and Lauren last week. And yeah, I think if you are navigating the dating world, the Minna Ladies is a good place for you to go and just, take on board their hints. I took away from that maybe Brandy is a sneaky psycho. She has a little bit of psychotic tendencies around her. So I know Steve from Providence is keen to hook up with Brandy. If I was him, I'd just be careful. And the other one is Tara is obsessed with her fiance talking to his exes. So I would say to Tara's fiance, don't even follow any of your exes on Instagram because she will cut your balls off. So that's my takeaway from the Minna Ladies. Hello, caller. Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
Hey, I didn't think that Rob guy was that bad. I don't know why everybody's saying shit. I think he's funny as fuck. I love the show. It's my favorite one. It's my favorite fucking. It's my favorite show on the YouTube channel.
Is this Rob? Rob, is this you?
Hello, it's
Rob. Is this you? Rob?
Hello, Manners.
Yeah.
Manners. I don't. What? Hello.
Anyway, I don't know what Chris was complaining about. He just loves a whinge. I'm going to bring the odd guest on Manners Live every week. I think it's good to bring someone in from the network. All right, Nick, last couple of calls, and then we'll bring this baby home. Hello.
Did you say that Russia had more to do with the Allies winning the war than the United States?
Correct.
Yeah, that is just a bad take.
It's not a bad take.
Germany drove Russia all the way to Siberia and Russia had to burn down its own country.
You heard
And
about fucking
when Germany
Stalingrad?
started
You
fighting
know
on
anything
two
about
fronts,
history? It's all about the Eastern Front. They just chewed up all the Nazi Kraut soldiers, murdered them. Thank God.
So the Pacific Theater just wasn't a part of World War II, because that's what made it World War.
Okay,
That's what made it a world
what
war.
did I say
not just
before?
the
I'm not
European war.
integrating I'm not saying Americans. America were incredible, but the Russians won the war against the Germans. To clarify, obviously the Russians didn't beat the Japs. So yeah,
Or the Italians.
well, the Italians
Northern Africa
surrendered.
was
I don't know if you know, the Italians surrendered. But anyway, look, it's you can go and read your history book.
Because
Russia won the war. I mean, if the Eastern Front
Russia did
wasn't
not
there,
win the war. Russia had more. You cannot say Russia came out of that war victorious when they had over 35 million casualties.
yeah, but the point is, the Americans knew that was going to happen, and they let the Russians, just churn through the German army. I mean, go and read the books. It's everywhere. Go and read the books.
Yeah, if the German army stopped at Stalingrad and decided not to go any further, Russia was screwed.
Have you read Stalingrad by
Hitler didn't get greedy?
Zhukov, the Russian general? He let the Germans come deep into Russia, then he starved them, he cut off their supply line, and then he circled the army, and he captured millions of Germans.
Also to his own people.
Yeah, but okay.
He also,
I'm not saying who's like a sort of winner on a country scale but I'm saying who won the war was Russia. Who after the war, I would rather be an American than Russia, of course.
no, that's not even that's not. So if America does not enter the war, all of Europe is speaking German right now.
I disagree. I mean, the Russians won the war more than the Americans. It's like, the Russians did this and the Americans did this, okay? And I'm a big fan of World War II history. I've been to D-Day beaches, the sacrifice that the Americans made.
I'm a big fan of World War II history too. I think that Australia is actually one of the unspoken heroes of World War II. I think that Australia doesn't get half the credit they deserve, them in Canada. But I just don't think you can look at it and say that Russia was somehow more instrumental in beating the Nazis than America was.
Well, I mean, it's a fact.
I just think that's an insane take.
ACT. Go and read your books. Go and read your history. But thanks for the call. I love talking history. Yeah. All right. Well, our last YouTube roundup, we got two things. Ted and Mike. Ted tells Mike Geary on Drop the Mic. Completely shredded. Hello, last call of the night. Hello, last call of the night. Gone. All right, well. Maybe one more. Hello? Okay. Last call of the night, Nick. If someone calls up while I'm wrapping up, we'll take it, but then we're going to close this shit up. It's coming up to 11 p.m. US East Coast time. So, in the last week, there was no rundown and no must-see because of the controversy surrounding some of the YouTube shows, but I would love to see them both come back. I think the rundown is a really good show on a Friday night US time, just to chat about what's happened in the week, except when Fez is on, it's very good. All right, last call of the night. Hello. Hello.
Are you talking about the German war and Russia war? Who?
My name is. All right, so bring back those shows. I think that's it for Menners Live this week. Happy anniversary to all the Minna fans out there and the Mincels. It's been one of the most incredible years in podcasting history. In a couple of 100 years, they will look back at the time the Kirk Minahan show started as being one of the most momentous moments in broadcasting history. I feel privileged to listen to the show every day. I'm sure many of you feel the same, that it is just a great community that Kirk's built, although he hates us all now. We like each other, so that's the main thing. No shows for 10 days, or 2 shows for 10 days for the main show. I'll be back next week with the live show. I'm not going to take the week off, although they are much well-deserved week off from them. And that's it. Thanks for watching this edition of Manners Live. We'll be back next week. Yeah. All right.